Yes, family. Blessed love community. Blessed love sisters, brothers. It's another episode of, is it an episode? This is another Community Conversations, Afua Speaks. Glad to see the house is filling up and definitely full. See all the regulars there, waving off to my moderators as well. Don't watch the head wrap. It's all plaited up and I'm good to go. So yeah, we're going to try to wrap up in about an hour today, hopefully. I know it's never going to go that way. We never do an hour. But hopefully we will today, this week. So, Blessed Love Lioness Keeks. Yes, yes. I believe the moderators are in. Let's wait for, oh, wow, I was going to say let's wait for the house to fill up a little bit, but it's full up almost instantly. So yes, my brothers and sisters, blessed love. Thank you so much for being patient from last week with me. And yeah, it was a little bit of an edgy one. I actually was going to go on and I went to press the button and I just couldn't. You know, I was kind of running back and forth between the restroom, as the Americans would like to say. Blessed love, Hurricane Toya, like a mighty storm, my sister. Yes, blessed love to all the regulars and all the lovers, not the haters. I find it very interesting, actually, that the trolls seem to be kind of creeping in slowly, pole pole, as you say in Swahili, as they say in Tanzania. Pole pole, slow. You know, they seem to be coming back in one by one. We've got a mad woman, I believe she's a mad woman anyway, called Leela Peters, who you might have seen in the comments, claiming that she has evidence of me taking backhanders or something from Operation Trident, which is really odd because I've never had any dealings with them whatsoever. My ex has, so I think she might be confusing me with him, which also is a little bit odd. Bottom line is, I think she's a troll, and she doesn't have a shred of evidence, otherwise she'd present it rather than just saying that she has it and chatting rubbish up in the comments. So I do try to ignore those people most of the time. But you know, every so often you just think to yourself, now you need an answer. You need for me to answer you back. So what we're going to do this week, brothers and sisters, we are going to talk a little bit about where we're at in terms of how we're moving forward post March, how we're moving forward, because you know we can't stop at just a march. We can't stop at YouTube lives. As I keep saying, we need to leave a legacy so that this process doesn't actually have to play out generation after generation. I, for one, I know that we broke generational curses on the 16th of October at Windrush Square. You know, anybody watching that could see, and anyone who was there could definitely feel it. We were breaking generational curses. There's absolutely sorry, there's somebody pressing dislike before it's even started. Yeah, trolls, they're back. I don't know what they want. They were silenced for a time, but I think they've probably reinvented their gripes. They've got something else to say. You know, we don't care about them. We are here for the victims, as I keep saying, and we're here to provide a safe space and platform so that the women in our community can unburden themselves after not being able to do that for God knows how long. You know, it's a noble cause. It's certainly one that started out, I think, just as a rant on Instagram, excuse me, and now it's grown into, you know, a place to be, a safe space to be for our sisters and our brothers, if they so wish, to come on and express themselves. Yeah, I'm going to leave all the comments to the mediators. Chawapa one mediator, if you're on and you can see what you need to be seeing. We've got slightly different mediators this week because our usual mediator, who's very, very strict, is unable to join today, and I'm sure that the mediators who are in place at the moment will be equally as strict. So throw me up a one in the comments. There we go. Yeah, sis is on point. We're good to go. Let me just flag up the usuals. Yeah, so sisters, brothers, this week, I'm going to try and fly through things. If people want to come on and speak, we can do that. That's not a problem. We're going to speak about two perpetrators today. Before, when we were on YouTube, we used to speak about lots of them all at once sometimes. And I think that's actually not the most structured way or productive way to do things. And it also doesn't stick in people's minds. But there's one in particular that I'm really going to make an appeal for, because I believe that we believe, myself and the victim, that he more than likely has more victims out there. And that's who we want to come forward. We want those victims to come forward. So yes, let me update you about the campaign. So I've been shortlisting for the last couple of weeks, received lots and lots and lots of emails from really, really good people, lots of sisters. I'd love to include everybody, but it's just not going to be possible in terms of the structure and resources. Eventually we can grow to that. But we're looking probably for about 5 people, I would say, to get involved with the organization and the planning of how it is we're going to move our services forward. So I have a structure. I've structured a document that lays out what it is that we want to do. And I think the first thing that we need to, baby steps, we need to organize a helpline. Now, I've spoken to a few people, and there's a particular brother. I'm not going to say his name just yet. When he's ready to reveal himself, he will. And he has offered to pay for the helpline. I mean, how great is that, brothers and sisters? He's offered to pay for the helpline, for the maintenance of it and the running of it, and the introduction of it, I should say, actually. The maintenance and the running of it is actually in negotiation. So in the first instance, we've got a lovely brother from our community whose name I shall reveal at a later date, who has offered to pay for our helpline. So, when we say, oh, where are our brothers and, why aren't they helping? We know that we're talking generally. We do. And there should be 10, 15, 25, 100 brothers like the one that's willing to pay for that helpline. There really should. It shouldn't just be the sisters that are pouring out, and 1 and 2 brothers like Double D and JJ and, this brother as well, and 1 or 2 others, Mega, that support the movement. Too many men are hiding. And I just find that interesting. I'd like to have a whole discussion about that. Maybe I'll put a Zoom panel together where we can actually chop that up and dissect that, because I really believe it's a deep phenomena, a very, very deep phenomena that we do this. So the helpline is going to get paid for, which is fantastic. But when it comes on to the running of that line and, people volunteering their time to actually man the line and receive calls from people on a 24-hour rota system, that's going to take some serious planning. And at the very least, if people are volunteering, we need to pay their expenses, or I believe that anyway. I don't believe that we should have people that give their time and their passion and their love for no kind of remuneration whatsoever. That's just not sustainable. It's not realistic, and it's not sustainable. At the very least, until we're in a position to actually pay wages, we should be able to pay people's expenses, and whether that is that they've taken 3 or 4 hours out of their day, then we need to be able to remunerate that, because, no one's sitting around doing nothing. We're living in very austere times, and we're all in a situation at the moment where, we feel, we know that it's very, very difficult for people, and particularly people in the Black community. We've never had it, especially not in Black Britain. We're not Black America. We don't have like oodles amounts of disposable income in the way that many Black Americans do have. Just not been here long enough. England just doesn't bus us enough, and we're still struggling, on a whole. Yes, there are individuals that are quite wealthy, but for the most part, their pound is not a Black pound. It goes straight out of that community, and many of them are not part of our community, as we well know. Yeah, so that's really exciting. And then what we want to do is that it's in phases. So we want to progress eventually, once we've recruited to a level, and this is going to be a much bigger recruitment, into some kind of street patrol that is able to go around the hotspots, the trouble spots, the estates, the dances, or perhaps the studios. We want to put a cohort of people in the school system that are speaking to young girls, not just young Black girls, but young girls in general. But when we're talking, what we are talking about actually is the dynamics that exist within the Black community. And as we know, we're in London, you know, there is no kind of real division, especially with the youths right now. So Black culture is youth culture. That's the reality. So we want to speak to all young people and try to educate them around. Bless up my sister Melrose. I see you there. Yes, strong warriors, queen, loving it. Yeah, we want to educate our young people around. It's around being aware of how to hold their own spaces, you know, how to hold their own space, but also having the confidence and having the places to go in order to report, because that's the most important thing. If we had somewhere in our time to report, if we had even words for it, if we even had a label for what this thing actually is, paedophilia, perpetrator, if we had those kinds of labels and the outlets in order to be able to report and be believed, I don't think that we'd be here doing this right now, because there wouldn't be an issue. You know, people would not have been carrying that pain for 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, and so on and so forth. So, yes, my brothers and sisters, it's going to be a whistle stop tonight, because, yeah, we're busy. Let's just say that. Tonight we're busy. So, yeah, eventually we want to put people in schools, we want to put people on the ground, and that is going to take some doing. I've always said that we need to be doing it the Garvey way. I don't want to get funding from any kind of institution that is going to be restrictive in any kind of way or dictatorial about how we do our thing, about what we say, and so on. Yeah. We need to do it the Garvey way. It needs to be of us. Kuji Chagalia, you know, cooperative economics. That's what we need to be doing as a people. And I think that the best practice of that is to do that through practice. So as I say, the Garvey way, £1 from each individual. There's 283 people on this live tonight, which is actually a low. We normally get a lot more, maybe because it's bonfire night. And I know as the evening builds up, we will see more people. But imagine just us on this live. Each time we do that, the funds will eventually build up, that we are able to fund some of the initiatives that we're talking about, because they're not going to come out of air. You know, it would be too much for anyone to expect for me to continue to fund it out of my own pocket. I have a child. She's 11 years old. My other three may well have grown up, but particularly the middle one, who's just finishing off her studies, she's still very dependent on me and her father. So, you know, that needs no explaining. That it's a massive feat to be able to fund on your own. As I said before, if I was a millionaire, then it would have been up and running already, because we have been doing this now for a year. It's actually going to be a year on the 26th of this month since I released the first Vincent rap video. Can you believe it? A whole year that we've been sitting here campaigning and so on. Excuse me, lobbying the police, lobbying the local authority. And there has been developments, actually. I actually received a response from Lambeth MPs. Yep. They emailed me, I should say, to say that they have noticed what we're doing. They couldn't help but notice, really, once we turned up in their jurisdiction on the 16th of October, right? So for months, I've been emailing these people, and suddenly, post the 16th, I get an email saying that they will be speaking to Lambeth local authority, and that they are going to have conversations with the police about reopening cases. We'll see. Let's see if they put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, and if that actually does happen. Because one thing I know about politicians, they do lie. They certainly do lie, do they not? Yep, they certainly do lie. Yeah, so that's updates. I'm trying to think what else it is I need to update you. I mean, we are still very much in the what's the word I'm looking for? I've gone really blank tonight. We're in the infant stages, in the preparatory stages of rolling out what it is that we need to roll out. And that's going to take quite some time, you know, especially if we want to do it well. Especially if we want to do it well. Mods has just asked me to put up the Cash App. Yeah, there we are. So yeah, if we want to do it well, and I believe in doing things well, you know, one of the things that I hate about a lot of what goes on, not all, but a lot of what goes on in our community, is that it's always kind of ramshackle, and it's never done to the optimum. And that's usually, again, because of funds. And we know that no one is really quick to fund our causes, right? So we need to do that ourselves. And I firmly believe that we can do that. We funded that march ourselves. And what a day it was. Wasn't it a beautiful occasion, my brothers and sisters? It was absolutely, I'm still in awe. I'm still floating around that. Yeah, I'm still floating around that day. I'm still kind of in the clouds about it, because every time I watch the footage and I relive the moment, I just can't help but think how much the ancestors turned up that day and blessed the space. I mean, it was just awesome. The energy was just awesome. You had to have been there to really understand it and see it. Yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. And I'm going to be, as I said, I think a couple of weeks ago, that I'm going to be looking for sponsorship from Black businesses, from Black professionals, Black sports people, people in entertainment, and so on, because this is about our community, and it's about time that certain people took responsibility. I was going to do a roll call walk of shame for those people that we expected to turn up at the march, and actually they didn't. They really didn't. People like Abdul Karim from the Nation of Islam. Shame on you, brother. Shame on you, brother. Malcolm X, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, brother Omar Wale, would turn in his grave if he could see the state of affairs right now that's going on in his name. It's still Malcolm that devised the security detail for the Nation of Islam, and the FOI, the Fruit of Islam, still use that security detail to this day. They've never deviated from it. So all that formation that you see them do, the training, the martial arts, whatever, was all devised by Malcolm X. And I think that you've done him no justice whatsoever. You've also not done the Honorable Elijah Muhammad any justice, because the mandate that he put out for you was that you should protect the women. And you actually did not protect the women, did you, Abdul Karim? You are a disgrace in our community. We turned up on your patch, Abdul Karim. We turned up on your patch in Brixton. I could have walked up the road to Loughborough, to Hinton Road, to your mosque, and there was not one single FOI out there. Why? Because of your ego, because of the fact that you do not like me, because of the fact that I called you out. Yeah, because you're big friends with Vincent Ratt. Yes, you are. Yeah, he's been up in the mosque. The world and his brother knows that. I think Vincent himself was secretly filming. Did you know that, Abdul Karim? I saw some footage the other day that somebody sent me that was clearly filmed by Vincent Ratt. I was in the footage at the mosque that day. Only he didn't catch the bit when I was just out in the corridor about to rush in and was stopped. Yeah, to put him in his tracks. But he filmed that day. Nobody knew he filmed that day. But you see the way these perpetrators move. In the same way that Eamon Edwards had a recording of his children's mother from 1992 taped on a answer machine. I mean, who does that? Answer machines, if I can remember rightly, used to carry a little tape inside them, little tiny one. And I'm just wondering how this man has digitalized that he could replay it on YouTube. I mean, actually, he had it on a tape. He had it on a tape on YouTube. Yeah, he did. But he saved that from 1992. What was he saving it for? These people apparently split up, according to him, years ago. In fact, he says they didn't have much of a relationship. Why was he hanging on to this one recording on an answer machine that his child's mother sent to him? Who does that? From 1992. My God, that's like 29 years ago. It's nearly 30 years ago. Unbelievable. But he used it or brought it out when he thought it was convenient to try to discredit and disgrace his child's mother. But this is what they do: covert filming, just unbelievable kinds of files that they have around things. It's a security blanket. They really believe, I think, that they are, that they've got insurances or whatever they have with people. They're absolutely disgusting individuals. I've always said it. I don't believe, we want to talk about who's redeemable, who is able to repent, because, we do have to operate from a standpoint of forgiveness. And as anyone that was following from Instagram will know that when it came on to Vincent Ratt's sons, I was able to show a little bit of grace for them until Quincy started misbehaving and showing that he had no remorse. And then we had to go in a little bit more, But the way that these perpetrators do not take responsibility for their actions, they never ever do. They never take responsibility for their actions. There's no remorse in them. They never say sorry. You know, they never hold their hands up and say, do you know what? I need help. I'm sick. I need help. And yes, I did do this, but I would like to redeem myself. I'd like to fix myself so that my victim can have some kind of closure. And I'd like to try to make amends for my actions. Doesn't happen. Yeah, the only time it happens is if there's some kind of monetary gain, or there's a reduction in sentence, or they want to work their way through their bases on Rule 43 as quickly as possible. So they tell the therapists and whoever works in that therapeutic community what they need to hear. That's what they do. No remorse in them. Absolutely no remorse whatsoever. And I for one, think it's just completely disgraceful. You know, the other thing is as well is the way that they think. There's been a development lately, which I can't say too much about at the moment. I will in a few weeks. I spoke with the victim today, but the way that those perpetrators think they can go for this victim, you know, trying to attack her job and things like this, it's not on. Absolutely not on. And again, it's always a ploy in order to be able to cover their own tracks, hide their own dirty secrets, cover their nasty laundry. This is how they operate. This is how they operate. And one thing that we have done here is to really break down the mindset and the pathology of perpetrators and paedophiles, particularly. Paedophiles are narcissists. You know, many of them are psychopaths as well. And those kind of things go hand in hand. Narcissism, psychopathic behavior, you know, sociopathic behavior, all of those things, they don't happen in isolation of each other. You'll often find that when a therapist diagnoses somebody with a narcissistic personality disorder, it comes along with that, with the extra provisos, sociopath, whatever. So that's how they operate. We're dealing with some really, really sick individuals that I don't believe are redeemable. And I've worked with them. I don't believe they're able to redeem themselves. I really don't. I think some of them are able to curtail themselves to a point where they may not perpetrate. And I'm not talking about the ones in our community. They've never had a day's help in their lives, you know, but having worked with some paedophiles, I think some of them have shown some remorse, and they try to curtail themselves, but it isn't possible. It's their sexuality. It's already pathologized within them. You know, how do you change that? How do you really, really change that? And there's a lot of debate around what we do with that, what we actually do with those people. Because can you change it? I mean, I'm a heterosexual woman. Am I able to then say, well, somebody could make me become gay, for instance, you know, make me become a lesbian? It's not possible. I don't fancy women. So how do you help a paedophile when all they fancy is children? Yeah. And I think there's a certain arrogance. Amongst the middle classes, you know, especially within the therapeutic field, that believes that they can. And it's that kind of white supremacist arrogance that believes they can change anything. They believe that they can master anything. They are the masters of everything. So they're able to change these people. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't ask a gay man to go straight, and you can't ask a straight man to go gay. It's just not possible. So why it is that we feel we are wasting money and resources, so much money and resources in trying to rehabilitate paedophiles is beyond me. Yeah, that money should be earmarked for the victims who have suffered a lifetime. These people, for the most part, actually, they're suffering themselves. That is true. You know, for the most part, they are actually ex-victims themselves, which is very sad. But as I said, I think in a previous session, if we can't clip and get hold of those young children before puberty and turn that around, I'm afraid it's too late, you know. And it's not just old men. There's a lot of female perpetrators. They're not even given the name paedophile in this country. Females who harm children sexually are not called paedophiles, really. They're called female perpetrators. You know, I mean, it's very ambiguous, because that could be a perpetrator of domestic violence, you know, a perpetrator of all sorts of things. But they are called female perpetrators, and they don't actually have a rule When I say Rule 43 or the numbers, I'm talking about the segregation units within prisons that are exclusively for sex offenders, and it's for their own protection. But when you go onto the numbers, you'll find better cells, better facilities, more time out of their cell, more association. I don't understand it. I do not understand it. So you're going to lock up a drug dealer for 25 years because he chose to see, in fact, let me not even say a drug dealer, an armed robber. An armed robber, nobody got hurt. Yes, he had a gun. Yes, he frightened the staff in the bank, but he got away with 30 grand. They'll give him 20 years. But a man who's raped a child will probably get 3 to 5, if you're lucky. And that's only if it's the most horrendous thing. Yeah, when it's really bad, when they've killed a child, or, it's been a catalogue of children over a period of time, 20, 30 years or whatever, then you might find they'll get over 10 years. But there's something fundamentally wrong, systemically wrong within the judiciary, within the criminal justice system. Very, very wrong indeed. Very, very wrong. And these are the things that we're lobbying to change. When it comes on to Lambeth, our cry is that they will reopen those cases, particularly the Rat cases and the Tony Buttons and the Eamon Edwards cases, all the ones that we've discussed on this platform. They will reopen that because there's so much evidence for them to do that. In the case of Eamon Edwards, evidence was lost. For some reason, the police were slow off the mark, Brixton Police again, probably because of their complicity. And they actually ended up losing her diary. I'm able to say that because we've spoken at length, myself and that sister, and she's happy for me to spill the beans. They actually lost her diary, and her diary contained a lot. Imagine that. Imagine that. The key piece of evidence, and they lost her diary. So-called, allegedly lost her diary. This is what they're saying. But I don't really buy that. She doesn't really buy that. And this is the course of events. This is always what happens. Yeah, this is always what happens in these cases. It's either the CPS are telling people, well, we just don't, we believe you, but we don't have enough evidence to go to trial. It's a numbers game. It's about money. It's like, are we going to win this, or are we going to waste lots of money trying to fight this case only to lose it? This is how the CPS thinks. So they decide, they play God. You could come with as much evidence as you feel that is necessary. But if they don't buy it and they don't feel it's enough evidence, it will not go to trial. So when people go, oh, where's the evidence? And why don't you bring these people to trial? How many of the victims and the survivors that I speak to have already been to the police 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times? Nothing done. Sometimes the police will do something about it. They'll investigate, they'll get a case together, they'll present it to the CPS. The CPS says not enough evidence. Or sometimes it gets to trial, and again, the jury decides it's not enough evidence. Because if it's historic sexual abuse, as I've said 1,000 times here, where will the evidence come from? The evidence has to come through consistency. It has to come through corroboration, in the sense where, and a genealogy of, did you tell anybody along the way? That is the weight of the evidence. It isn't it isn't the evidence that we normally see in criminal trials when it comes to historic sexual abuse. People need to SWAT up. That's what they need to do. One of the things that that I don't do is to comment or lick out against something unless I'm thoroughly schooled in it, unless I've really researched this thing and have formed an opinion, an informed opinion. Unless I have an informed opinion around these issues or a particular issue, I'm not going to open my mouth. I'm not going to defy anybody or try to disprove what they're saying, So we've got a lot of work to do in terms of education. And I also believe that right. So what I also want to do is sorry, I've lost my train of thought there. I just got a really odd message from someone that I thought was to do with this, but it wasn't. So I've lost my train of thought. Anyway, brothers and sisters, you guys, I've had a lot of people, so many people on the back of the march between Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Instagram and Facebook rather, DMing me and asking, do I do merchandise? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what kind of merchandise? But a lot of people want to see something tangible on the back of the march. They want to be able to get something, you know, memorabilia. And if we had enough time actually, between the time when it was announced and the march actually happened, then I guess we would have maybe had some T-shirts made or something like that. So I've been sort of toying with the idea. It's a lot of work to take on. But I actually had a light bulb moment. I thought, hold on, if I did merch, then actually I feel that would be a better way of raising funds for the campaign rather than just asking people to give money, because then people can actually get something. You know, they can hold on to something and they can see what it is that they are donating for. So that to me feels better. You know, I've talked a lot about my the fact that I'm uncomfortable with the whole sort of money argument, you know, or speaking about that because of the way that I know our community thinks. And I don't want to anybody. It's funny enough, there's someone here called AR Scammer. I hope you're not a scammer, but it's for that very reason. We've had too many scammers in our community, and I'm very critical of stuff like that. I hate those mega church preachers and, you know, all those people that ask their public for money. I'm not comfortable with it. So when it came on to me fundraising for the march and all of that stuff, you know, I had lots of back and forth conversations with people about it. And I was just like, can't we just find ways of funding this ourselves without asking people for anything? But it's not realistic. And yes, we should be dealing with corporate economics. But I believe it's a fairer exchange if people are able to get something for their money, you know, rather than just sort of waiting to see a program roll out or whatever. You know, you can wait and you can get something, a T-shirt, a hoodie, a cap, or whatever it's going to be. But I've had a couple of things made up. And if you remember rightly, if we look at that, I don't know what you guys think about that. So I gave these out to the team on the back of the march. And there was requests, as I said, people asking about T-shirts and stuff like that. But I actually got these made up. I'm holding it right. Yeah, everything's going kind of back to front. It's like a mirror image at the moment. But yeah, I had these made up. I had one made for myself. And if you remember, that's the logo, our logo. His time is up. Our voices will be heard. Hashtag his time is up. Now, my middle daughter, who's really good at these kinds of things, she actually designed that logo. I think that's really special. But I gave this to the team, everybody that was involved on the ground, particularly when I was in Tanzania, when I came back, you know, everybody that really put their efforts, their passion into making the march happen. I sent everyone one of these mugs that I had custom made, and I put a little message on the back. But I also made one for myself, and it says, "No weapon formed against us shall prosper." And it just kind of documents the march. So I'm thinking, if we're going to do merch, I'd like to start with these. And if there's anybody that wants to order any of these, I'm not sure how much I'm going to ask for them yet. I'll let you know. I'll put updates and stuff like that. Put a one up in the chat, actually, if you think it's a good idea, if you'd rather donate in that way, so that you can, so that you can get something for your contributions, and let me know. All right. But I think it's cute anyway. So I thought if we started with mugs, then we'll see how that goes, and we can progress to T-shirts. And definitely next year, when we do the march, we're going to be having that kind of memorabilia, banners and things like that, and so on. Oh, good. That's a good response. Oh, good. So I'm on the right lines, because we do everything in consultation, my brothers and sisters. You know, I ain't doing it if you lot ain't down with it at the end of the day. But as I said, I've had loads of requests for it. And yeah, I think it's kind of cute. And it will be, you know, if you order that, it will actually have an inscription. I'm going the other way. Yeah, here we go. It will actually have an inscription on the back of some description. And as I said, I'm going to advertise this a bit more when I get my head around it all, and maybe think about some T-shirts for the time being, which I will be producing myself, by the way. I won't be outsourcing. If I do it, I want to be able to do that. It's an act of passion, and you know, hopefully it won't be too overwhelming. So I was thinking of trying to kind of school myself through YouTube tutorials on how to produce these things and the kind of equipment I might need. I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue about any of it. But initially when I heard merch, I was like, what? Isn't that for rappers and, I don't know, people that have got 1 million subscribers on YouTube and that do this every day? That are content creators, because that's not what I am. I'm not a content creator. I'm a community activist. I've been an activist for 30 odd years. And I've just discovered that social media, especially being in Africa, is a very powerful tool to be able to reach lots of people. And that's all I am about when it comes on to being on social media. I just want to make that absolutely clear. I'm not a content creator. I wouldn't know where to start. I see these guys on YouTube and they've got all these fancy bits going on their videos and like things coming in and out, and hey, nah, that's just way too technical. It took me long enough to work out StreamYard, and that was with help. Right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes, brothers and sisters. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Hey. Who also thinks it will be a good idea to do a little bit of a kind of UK tour, if you like, a road show? I don't know what would you call it? And to do sort of mini marches around the country, because we've got so much shouts coming out from Manchester, from Birmingham, from Leeds, from Leicester. There's some things developing in Leicester, let me tell you, going on at the moment that there's those sisters up there need us too. And if we could replicate what happened in Windrush Square there, that would be amazing. But it would need to happen really quickly, because I need to get back to Africa. I cannot take this cold. It's way too much for me, and it hasn't even begun yet. It hasn't even started properly, is it? It's only November. But already it's freezing, man. But that can happen without me. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen without me. I mean, Windrush Square nearly happened without me, and it still went ahead. So many people still turned up and so on. So these are all the things that are in the pipeline that will be unfolding as the weeks progress, in terms of where it is that we're going and the type of awareness that we want to raise. Yeah. So keep the emails coming if you're interested, if you want to contribute your time, your effort, your expertise, your mind, whatever. Email me. I'll just flash the email up for those of you that haven't seen it before. There we go. So please email me here. That's histimeisup52@gmail.com to express your interest in getting involved in the movement, the campaign, in any capacity. And like I said, it's not so much about professional qualifications. That's part of it, but it isn't so much about that. I would take lived experience and passion and commitment any day over simple letters, simple qualifications. That's not enough to connect you to this movement anyway. It's not enough to be a professional. That's actually not going to quite cut it as far as I'm concerned. But the first person I want to talk about is Gordon Ray Clark. I didn't quite get his picture up on Instagram, but I did have it up earlier. Sorry, on YouTube, but I did have it up earlier on Instagram. Remember this guy holding the number plates? Don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. This guy here. There's a way that I can actually do it on this platform to bring it up on the screen, but I don't know how yet. So another tutorial is on its way. But this guy here, I want to talk about this fool. I want to talk about this disgusting raiment. Gordon Ray Clark of Rowley Regis in Birmingham. Yeah? Unbelievable. This man came from Jamaica as I believe he would have probably been in his late teens, early 20s or thereabouts. In fact, it was probably more than that. He was 20 years older than his victim. Started troubling, and the victim was his young cousin. Came up from Jamaica to live with this family in Birmingham. 20 years older than the little girl. Yeah. He works his way into the affections of the family, which is very common. You know, they put themselves in positions where they're trusted, where they're revered, looked up to. We know this. He put himself in sort of ingratiated himself into this family of his, to the point where everybody really hero worships him now and thinks he's a stand-up kind of guy. You know, they don't care the fact that it was his cousin, albeit that she had a child for him when she was still relatively young, actually, but she was over the age of consent by the time she'd had a child for her cousin. But he had been grooming and molesting this child from a lot younger. You know, he's a paedophile. That's what he is. He's a nasty, disgusting paedophile who's not redeemable. That's what he is. And he groomed this young girl. I mean, to the point where when she had a child for him, that she had an on and off relationship with him. Very common yet again. We see it all the time. She had an on and off relationship with him, which was highly dysfunctional in her own words. And she's extremely damaged by this. She's a very angry young sister. I say young sister, she's not that young. She's a big woman, actually, but she's a lot younger than me. But she carries a lot of anger and she's aware of that. That's one of the beautiful things about her. She's a beautiful sister, beautiful inside and out, you know. But the veneer over that beauty is just utter rage. And in speaking to her, I believe that a lot of the rage is not so much from the abuse, although it is, but it's more about the level of gaslighting and the level of rejection that she has felt from her family, especially since she started speaking her truth. You know, it's so sad. But this man, her whole family has gaslit her. They've been able to brand her as a mad woman, as somebody that's not fit to look after her children or her child. The man has custody of the child. Can you believe that? The man has custody of the child, even though his child is also his cousin. You know, and the authorities are aware of that. But as far as they see it, they must see it as kissing cousins and just have left it at that. Nobody has bothered to try to dig deeper, you know. And this sister has been left with the weight of all of that. I mean, this man groomed her. He terrorized her. He mocked her. He stalked her. She's moved further and further up into the British Isles, up to the top of it, till she can't go no further north to get away from her family and this particular man. You know, this is what happens. They're completely obsessed with the victims, completely obsessed with the victims. I'm finding it hard to say too much detail about this guy until a sister is able to give me more detail and to really kind of, I mean, she's given me a lot of detail, but in terms of his actual crime, I don't have that much detail, so I can't go too much into that. I've just seen DJ Fridge, what, you again? With your stupid comments. If a man get custody of the child, something must be wrong with the mother. You know what, yeah? Somebody said earlier on my page that they're really sick and tired of the trolls and the people asking idiotic questions on this platform. This platform is not here for you people to troll. This platform is here for victims and survivors to have a safe space. People like you, DJ Fridge, moderator, deal with him. I'm not going to tolerate any of them tonight. Go into timeout about if there's something wrong with the mother. We have a system in this country that is absolutely flawed to the max. It's flawed, inextricably flawed. So no, it doesn't mean that something was wrong with the mother. Actually, what it can mean is that something is highly wrong with the father and that he's very manipulative. He's managed to break that victim down. He's managed to break that victim down into nothing. And the authorities will always blame the victim and not the perpetrator. How about that? That's exactly what actually happens a lot of the time. There's nothing wrong with this sister. Nothing wrong with her at all. She's not mad. She's not bad. She's just sad. So no. You know what makes me laugh about those kinds of comments as well is the fact that we spend so much time when it comes to racism or when it suits us, we cherry pick about the system. But the very first thing that flies out of people like that's mouth is the system. What about the system? Well, you know, if they took the child, then there must be something wrong with the mum. No, stop talking from a place of ignorance. I'm not going to tolerate it. This is not your space. You know, they just want attention for real. It's not your space. It's really not. And I've been ignoring you people for weeks, is what I've been doing. You know? Yeah, time out. Get him out of here. And he's one of the regulars as well, that DJ Fridge. Go sit on one side, DKNY. That's right. I don't even know if you're a brother or a sister, but go sit on. That's what my mum used to say. Go sit on. Damn fool. Anyway, let me smoke part of my spliff. They're bright up in there, my brothers and sisters. I'm in a raw mood tonight. So anybody that's going to go on with their foolishness, try. We got rid of, we had so much peace and progression over the last few weeks, in between the march and now. But I've seen them throughout the week, slowly creeping back in with their bag of tomfoolery. I'm not going to have that today. We're really not. But yeah, Gordon Clark, you're a nasty piece of work. And it's the manipulation that gets me with this one, you know. I want to know if there's any other sisters in Birmingham that recognize this guy. Yeah, if you're calling from Birmingham, or if you have any Birmingham links, make sure you spread the live once we've recorded. Spread it and find out if there's any more sisters that recognizes Gordon Clark. Sorry, yeah, Gordon Clark. Gordon Ray Clark is his middle name, you know, or if you know that number plate, because that's his number plate right now. Yeah, apparently he was giving it for his birthday. I got a feeling I know who's trying to get hold of me. Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know why anyone would want to call me right now. I don't know who PG actually is, so it may well be him, because the perpetrators like to call while I'm on air, to be fair. So I got a feeling that somebody on Instagram, it may well be the guy. Come on the live if you're watching, because the call is not going to get answered round about now. So absolutely disgusting. This is coming from the victim herself, who, you know, is a grown woman now, and she's able to speak up. Yes, Gordon Ray Clark, that's absolutely correct. That's who it is. Impregnated his young cousin, who was 20 years younger than him, while she was still underage, you know, groomed her into thinking that it was normal, and to the point where they had a child. That child is now 22 years old. And unfortunately was brought up by the perpetrator, you know. And what kind of ambivalence must that poor child be in? You know, if it affects on so many different levels, I tell you. I don't know his nickname, actually. I don't think he does. I haven't been told that he has got a nickname. If he has got a nickname, sorry, I'm going to have to silence this guy. This person's getting on my nerves. Give me a minute. They're not letting it go, I tell you. Right, maybe that will silence them. Good. Yeah, so I don't know if he has a nickname. Lots of them often do. But I don't know his at the moment. Perhaps sister can tell me that at another time, and we can put that out there, you know. But what I do know is that he's a highly manipulative individual, highly manipulative. He completely denies troubling her before the age of, well, while she was still a minor. Completely denies that to the family. But there's no denying what he did. He slept with his cousin, he impregnated her. And this family believe that it's normal, or they try to cover it, or they try to gaslight the victim when she tries to talk about it, you know. Sorry guys, I've got a bit of trap wind. I tell you, this food and everything over here has not been green with me at all. Yeah, so it's just been a nightmare journey for this sister. And as I said, she's been left with this heavy weight of rage that just comes up in her. You know, it's all consuming. Sorry, I've got to take a juice here, people. It's just all consuming for her. Right, I got it laid down. been all consuming. You know, it's almost like this sister knows no real peace in her inner, you know. And I would really love to see that sister freed from that horrible bondage that these people have put her through. And it isn't just, it's the perpetuation of it's almost her having to relive that moment every time she tries to speak out or gain some kind of solace from her family. They just perpetrate on this poor sister all over again. It's really unacceptable. And this family in Birmingham, you know, shame on all of you, because it's a family that not only is housing and aiding and abetting this perpetrator, but it's a family that is almost like they're hell-bent on destroying the victim who is one of their own. And it's just the same thing that we see going on over and over and over again. The gaslighting of the victims, the victim blaming, the not believing them, the trying to discredit them, demonizing them in the community. It's just absolutely unacceptable. It really, really is. Coming up to the hour soon, and we're not going to do much longer than that today. I need to get some rest, and I've got a lot of work to do in terms of what we've been doing. So there's a lot of paperwork and emails to answer. And I'm tired. I've been doing it all day. Right. So that's Birmingham. And as I say, please circulate it. Circulate the WhatsApp picture, the Instagram picture of him as well. If you have any links in Birmingham whatsoever, please make sure that we share that up into Birmingham and some of the other home counties or some of the other cities, because we really want to find out if he's got other victims. And I believe he has. There's no way he stopped at just one. But yeah, while we're on this topic now, so my brothers and sisters, I spoke to a beautiful soul a few days ago. Beautiful soul, lovely sister, you know, gorgeous sister. And she told me the story of her father, one Sedley Winston Lindo, this horrible monster. Sedley Winston Lindo, aka Rocksteady, aka Tony, formerly of Brixton, Camberwell, and New Cross, because he's lived in all three places. Yeah. Now, we don't have any recent pictures of him, so this picture is more how he would have looked at the time, back in his heyday in the 70s, 80s, 60s, whatever. And he looks like a bit of a middle-aged man here, but you know, he's still quite young. For those that might remember him and know him, I don't think he's been that visible in his old age. That's his image here. You see this guy? The depravity of this individual. He sexually abused and beat one of his daughters so severely, you know, and so systematically and consistently over a huge period of time that he was given a 14-year prison sentence. So nobody don't start with their foolishness tonight, because he's been found guilty. He served his time. But why we're incensed and why the victim is incensed is because the parole board has let him out back into our community. What, an 80-year-old man can't reoffend? You know, people seem to think, oh, well, they can't get it up, they can't reoffend. It's such an ignorance that goes on. There's so much more violations that you can do to a child without even penetrating them. And he's more than capable of doing that as an 81-year-old man. Should not be allowed back out into the community. The things that he did to his daughter, you know, one of his daughters, it just beggars belief. This man, and anything that I'm about to talk about, and I'm going to put trigger warning. I am going to put, you know, it's going to be very explicit what I'm going to share with you tonight. But the victim wants me to be explicit. Yeah, she wants me to tell her story. As I say, it's one of his daughters. He has many children, this guy. Oh, where do I begin with this one? Sedley Lindo, and yet again operating in Brixton. This man terrorized this child to a point where she wasn't allowed to go out. She wasn't allowed to do anything apart from sell his drugs, get beaten up by him, and get raped on an absolute daily basis. She told me that it was relentless what this man done to her. Yeah. The only time he eased her up, and this was from the age of 10 years old, remember? 10-year-old baby. 10-year-old baby. And this nastiness was raping her from that point. But he wasn't just raping her, he was fisting her as well. Oh, yeah. Brothers and sisters, this man was fisting his own child. The most depraved form of sexual activity. This is what he was doing. And that wasn't the half of it to this 10-year-old baby. Right up until she was 17 years old is what he did. For how many years this man was terrorizing this child. I mean, I can't even find the words for it. I'm so choked right now. And I'm recalling her telling me her story. You know, there's no question about it. I didn't need the rule of three with her. I didn't need these genealogies and these investigations. The courts had already done it for me. And the judge saw fit to give him 14-year sentence. 14 years. You don't get 14 years in a historic sexual abuse case unless there is absolute compelling evidence, unless the abuse is so atrocious. There's no way you're getting that kind of big bird. Yeah? It was so atrocious what he did to this child. He used to beat her on a daily basis. He had her up and down and round with him, making her do all sorts of illegal activities and whatever from a baby age, from primary school age. This is what he was doing to his own daughter, his own flesh and blood. And that, for me, it just gives you an insight into the sick activities of these people, you know? Gives you a real insight into the sick activities of these people. They have no respect for anything. It doesn't matter if it's their own flesh and blood. It doesn't matter whose child it is. As long as they get their depraved desires met, that's all they care about. Absolutely all they care about. You know, absolutely he should have got 25 years. He should have got more than that. He should have got life with no recommendation. The parole board have let him out. Typical. You know, I know brothers that are still sitting on Her Majesty's pleasure from the old rule. I think they squashed Her Majesty's pleasure now, but if you're unfortunate enough to have been sentenced under that from before, then you're still going to be serving that. Now, when you're serving at Her Majesty's pleasure, it means that only she can pardon you and let you out. You have no parole date. You stay in indefinitely. And I know brothers that are still sitting on HMP right now. Yeah? Why? Because they robbed the Queen's handbag. What we call the Queen's handbag. You know, they robbed money from the institutions. But yet, like this, fuckers like this can get 14 simple years and be out in 10. He went in when he was 69 years old. That's how deep it is. Yeah? Sister was able to speak her truth, bring it all the way, and bring him to court and win. And one of the things that she wanted me to pass on to victims was to say, there is hope. You can get some sort of justice sometimes, but you need to speak out. You need to speak out. Yeah? Like Sandra from Gogglebox was saying at the march, you know, sisters need to speak out now. It happened a long time ago, and you just need to speak out now. Stop hiding in shame. There is no need for it. We have a whole community here, especially here on this platform, that will support you, that will believe you. You know, you don't have to go through that kind of retribution time and time again. But this man beat the child with baseball bats, you know. He separated, isolated her is the word I'm looking for. Isolated her, you know, from everything. She was able to go to school, I think. That was about it. And he also humiliated her. He would take her after he'd finished beating her up with a baseball bat. 10-year-old girl, it started with the same severity throughout, daily. She used to have to go to him for, he used to hold on to her sanitary towels so that she'd have to go to him every time she wanted to change one. And he would have to show him the blood flow so that he could see when it was getting lighter so that he could start his activities again. Can you believe this? This is what this man done to his daughter, his blood child, his biological child. Yeah, it was a form of slavery, what he put her through. Torture. I mean, to me, he wasn't just a paedophile, he was also a sadist. Had to be. Fisting your own child, fisting anyone, even a woman who's not a virgin, who's had children, that would be a painful and disgraceful, debaucherous, depraved thing to do, in my opinion. What's that about? You know? And as I say, I go into the detail because she actually wants me to go into the detail. She's asked me to be as graphic as I possibly can because she wants everybody to know what a sick monster he actually is. So when he used to take the little girl now, and it didn't take much for him to take set on her. Sometimes she didn't have to say anything or do anything wrong for him to set on her with the baseball bat. And he'd beat her up with this baseball bat, chuck her in an ice cold bath, you know, to draw down some of the swelling or whatever he was doing. And then he'd take her out of that bath and press her face against a mirror and say, look at you, you're good for nothing. All you're good for is to clean and fuck. Humiliation. And then he'd chuck her down and rape her again and again. I wish I could find him. I really do. And I know there is somebody out there that knows this guy. Yeah? He should still be in jail. She submitted victim statements. You know, when they're going to release somebody, they ask the victim to provide a statement and whatever. And she submitted all of that to the parole board, but they still saw it fit to let him out. They still saw fit to let him out. He didn't even complete his paedophile program inside. They said it was not his fault why he didn't. I don't know. So they were happy to let him out in the community to complete his paedophile program. You see what I mean? The arrogance of these people. So he's on our little program. We'll put him on the sex offenders register. We might even tag him just to make sure that he's not going outside anyone's school. Well, the man was never a predatory paedophile like that, was he? He was an incestuous one. He wanted to keep it in the family. Because there's two types, you know, but the program seems to me to be only geared towards predatory paedophiles that hang out at the school gates, that, you know, that hide themselves in the bushes and snatch children. It only seems to be geared towards those types of people. What about the person who's in the home? This is the girl's father. Thankfully for her, she's long estranged from him and he doesn't know where to find her. Thankfully, because he would always threaten her. And in his day, apparently he was a little bit of a bad man. You know, a lot of people knew him around Brixton. Think back, guys. Sedley, Winston, Lindo, aka Tony, some people might know him as, but most people in Brixton knew him as Rocksteady. Please tell me if you know this man. And this is how he would have looked some 20, 30, 40 years ago, maybe. Because he is 81 now. Yeah? Rocksteady. He even looks like someone I might know. I'm thinking, this guy looks familiar, or does he just look like somebody I know? I don't know. But he looks like someone I've seen before even. And he was definitely a face in Brixton at the time. So somebody must know this man. And I don't believe that you know, that he just stopped at his child. I think that he would have troubled other family members and what have you. She also told me another thing of, you know, how he used to bring women into the house and have threesomes with these women, ménage à trois. And there was one occasion where he left the bedroom door open. This is his child. He leaves the bedroom door open while he's in bed with these two women, these two Jezebels. And as this young 12-year-old child is coming out of her room to go to the kitchen to get something, she has to pass this scene. And one of the women shouts out, "Oh, you've got a nice body. Come and join us. You see these Jezebels?" 12-year-old baby. So everybody in that space was complicit. As far as I'm concerned, they're pedophiles too. Yeah, they are no different to this nasty piece of work. Yeah, I don't care how old he is. Hitler was old, would have got old if he didn't top himself. That's another story anyway, but yeah, that's another conversation, another conversation for another day. But he would have got old at some point. All of these people get old at some point. Who cares what age this man is? He was a young man when he was doing what he was doing to his own daughter and subjecting her to this nastiness, you know, beating the child up, humiliating her, telling her she will never come to nothing and all that she is, you know, nothing. He impregnated her several times, you know, and one of the times she nearly died. And when she asked him the question, what would you have done if I died in this situation? And he answered her, I would just say that you're a dirty girl and that you're promiscuous, because he forced her to say that the baby was for somebody else. See a lot of this going on, you know. I don't class this man as human as far as I'm concerned. I do not class this man as human, because the terror, and I'm just giving you the short version, brothers and sisters. You know, I can't give you all the detail. We'd be here all night. Yeah, I can't give you all of the detail. Some of it is just so horrendous, I can't even repeat what he did to this child. What he did to this child, you know. And I say that he abused one of his daughters, but we don't know if he abused all of them, because not all of them are going to speak at this point. One of them is speaking up, but not all of them. And I firmly believe that if he abused one, then he had access to others, then he would have abused others too. There is no way that he's just going to stop at this one child, you know. But for her, she's felt for a long time that it was just her. He was physically abusive as well to some of his other children, but he was definitely sexually abusive and physically abusive to this girl. And he was done on several acts of paedophilia towards the child, but also quite a few of the charges was around child cruelty, and the physical abuse that he perpetrated on that child. Absolute monster. And you know, I'm just like, when did we get to this? When did we get to this? There was a time, certainly in my era, that it was thought that, you know, we didn't really do these types of crimes. We like to steal, we like to sell drugs, we like to kill each other, but not really into this. Yes, we know incest goes on in the family, but this level, and apparently he was addicted to porn, probably where he got the idea of fisting from. There's not something that you do, is it? Is it? Sometimes my head hurts me, you know, brothers and sisters, with the level of wickedness that I'm seeing going on in the world, not just with this, but across the world. And I just think, at what point is there going to be, is humanity going to prevail over all of this madness? But I blame porn for a lot of things, to be fair. I'm a big anti-porn person. I think it's just so unnecessary. I don't even understand porn. Whenever I've seen it on, I'm just so repelled and disgusted. I don't want to see that. Why would I want to see grown people having their end away? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get what it is. But it's been responsible for so much debauchery in our community, for people being introduced into things that, to me, is not really about what the act of procreation is supposed to be about. I am old school. I believe it's about making love, making babies, being with somebody you care about, and enjoying yourself that way. Forgive me if that's old-fashioned, if it's not cool. I don't really care. You understand? There's no kinks in this, not at all. But, you know, some of the things that he used to do to this child was drawn from really hardcore porn that even the most grown, normal adults wouldn't be able to withstand or endure. But this was done on a child. 10 years old, remember? Yeah? You're an absolute disgrace, this man. Absolute disgrace. And I don't see these people as one human, and I certainly don't see them as part of our community. How can we claim this nasty man? Huh? And look upon him too. Look at it. Look at that. You know, just remember, brothers and sisters, that I couldn't get these people's pictures or the details of their stories unless it's from those victims. And I dare anybody to come out and try to defend this man. I don't think that's going to happen anyway. You know, I really don't think that's going to happen. But I have no doubt that there are people that's going to want to defend Gordon Clark, because they've been defending him for quite some time. You know, apparently the victim is told that it takes two to tango. Family ranting. This is what we were going to talk about last week. The family ram concept. Where the hell did that come from? Even the term family ram, you know, it's very alpha, isn't it? A ram. That is the alpha male of the goat pack, is the ram at the end of the day. So they're calling him a family ram. And it's attributed to a male, yeah, who likes to go around having sex with and impregnating his cousins, and sometimes even a bit closer, his sister. In some cases, his mother. A family ram. Now, in Jamaica, that's a Jamaican term, by the way. In Jamaica, that's almost seen as normal. Family ram. I have a cousin. Oh, I have an uncle, I should say, my father's brother, who married his first cousin. And they never told the children. My mum loved to chat, so she told us, but we were kind of sworn to secrecy. And it wasn't until my cousin went to Jamaica with his dad, they went on a big family trip or something. He's got brothers and stuff, but this was the oldest one. And my cousin had, he went to Jamaica and for the first time saw both sides of his family, all of his family. And he had to ask his father the question, why have I got the same grandmother twice? Because his grandmother on his dad's side was also his grandmother on his mum's side. I mean, what madness is this? What madness is this? If that is not from the plantation, I don't know where it's from. This incestuous family ram concept. It's a disgusting term. I hate the term. But that's what we say in the Caribbean. I'm sure they've got other local terms for that in other islands. But in the island of Jamaica, they call it a family ram thing. They joke about it. They talk about it as if it's normal. It's not normal. It's not normal at all. If it's such close cousins as well, first cousins. That'd be like my son wanting to set up with my niece, my sister's child, or my brother's child. How is this possible? How is this possible? And how is it that we've got a society that accepts that in the Caribbean? Which so many of us are from that place, or our people hail from that place. Absolute nastiness. We've got to start to undo some of that programming, because this is what I call internalized racism. Yeah. So you've got your if you haven't taken it down yet, it's about to come off the screen. This is the email. And we've got our information back up there as well in terms of how you can donate. As I said, for those of you that weren't on the live at the beginning, we will be producing merchandise upon request of so many people. And also you can get something for your donation, which will be great. I've yet to price that up and think about a reasonable price, but also look at the costings and whatever. Yeah. Anyway. Brothers and sisters, let's take some calls. Let me know what you think about all of this. I mean, I'm just gobsmacked. I'm always gobsmacked. I'm always gobsmacked. I'm always gobsmacked. I just can't believe it. Yeah, they have no souls, Desiree Kemi. Absolutely no souls. Sisters just said that, and that's so true. No soul whatsoever. I'm so saddened by it. I'm just kind of reliving the energy that I felt when I was speaking to that young sister there. It's just gross. It's just gross. But you know what? Power to her, and power to the sister from Birmingham as well. The way those sisters are able to tell and speak their stories and the fight that they've had along the way in life. Oh, I didn't mean to put that on, actually. Oh, sorry. Thank you, though, my sister. Yeah, the way that they've bounced back. They're not completely damaged in the way that we've seen some sisters get damaged, where they lose their mind, they end up, cracked out or whatever on the road and whatever. Neither of these sisters are like that. They are very, very stable, thriving women, on many levels, but they carry this pain and this, This man tortured his child for however long. 7 years of her life. That's all of her adolescence, all of it, you know, and reserving the right. He used to beat her up if she had a boyfriend in the later years. He used to beat her up, like go berserk and beat her up and basically scream at her, only I is that him tell him daughter. These are the types of behaviors that we need to stamp out in our community. We've got to stop this. We've got to stop this. We've got to change the mindset, you know. Like, I can't remember his name now, the one that went into timeout. I think they only stay for a little while. Maybe he's gone. You know, first thing they want to do is climb in and start to troll and start to chat foolishness. There must be something wrong with the mother. How dare you? I've just told you the woman's pain, and your comment is, well, there must be something wrong with her. How bloody dare you? Don't come on this platform while I'm talking about somebody's pain and try to put them down. They've had a lifetime of this guy. What's his name again, Keats? What's his name, moderator? Can't remember his name now. I'm going to name and shame you because you have been going on for quite some time. You know, it's just landing on me now. That foolishness there. It's literally just landing on me. How fucking dare you come on this platform while I'm in the middle of sharing this woman's pain on her behalf and make a comment like that? We're not going to tolerate you people. DJ somebody. Idiot. You're a big idiot. And I dare you to come on this live. I dare you to come on this live. I'm not even going to shout at you. Let me just have a conversation with you. But you see, by the time I'm done with you, DJ Fridge, sick of him. Where is he? Is he gone? Is he gone? DJ Fridge. You're a kunamuno. You're an idiot. You're barely literate. You can't be. Because if you were, you might have taken the time out to educate yourself so that you didn't go around making perpetratory remarks like the ones that you've just made. How dare you speak about a victim like that? How fucking dare you speak about a victim like that? How many times can I swear, Double D? I don't know if you're here. How many times can you swear? Bloody dare you. Who do you think you are? Come on the live. And that's what makes me sick with them, because he was one of the ones that used to be all up in it before the march, wasn't he? And now he's come back on. Why? Because you're a sado that clearly has nothing better to do with your time. And you got no gal to pull in tonight. Huh? And you got nowhere to go. You sado. Why are you on here? Most people are on here through support or because they want a platform in order to express themselves. Because people like you have denied them in the community for too long. But you think you want to come on here on a Friday night? It's bonfire night. Go look at some fireworks. Kunamuno. Damn idiot. Hopefully he's gone. Anyway, not having it. Absolutely not having it. Absolutely not having any of them. Any one of them think they can come on here. I love this platform because you've got way more control. Just kick them out of the chats and let them go on about their business. Yeah? But yes, my brothers and sisters, that's our presentation for tonight. I don't know what else to say about these people. It'd be lovely to have a conversation with one of you guys. If one of you want to come on. Actually, I've not put the link up, have I? I've been not putting it up. It's crazy. Talking about coming on, and I actually haven't put the link in the chat. My computer's a bit sticky, so when it comes on to cut and paste, it's actually giving a little bit of trouble. Hey, why are you doing this to me now? That was my attempt at a really bad Nigerian accent, so I apologize to my Niger brothers and sisters because that was abysmal. Oh, here we go. Right, good. Right, so if you want to jump on, there it is. That's the link to jump in with. I think I've got one of it that we can put on the screen, right? Oh, okay. Right, so I'm going to try and put it up on the screen right now. Watch me, though. I'm getting quite dexterous. I'm getting quite dexterous with all of this. We just change that up for a hot minute. Hey. Okay. Right, so that's the link for anyone that wants to jump in and have their say. As always, it will be good to hear from brothers on a positive note. As I say, we're not going to have any trolling because we are not doing that to our brothers and sisters. I'll put it one more time in the chat as well, just so that we can... I don't know if that DJ Fridge is the large white guy. I was told that that's Daddy Fridge. We thought it was at first. And I think I might have had a go at him and told him to stay out of family business. The one that's on here, DJ Fridge. But then I was told that actually that's not him. The other one is called Daddy Fridge. So who knows? I don't know. There's a little bit of ambiguity around that. Whatever fridge he is, he needs to go and chill, which is what fridges do. Go and chill, seeing as you're a fridge. In fact, turn it up to number 5. I don't know what his face looks like. Psalms 91. Loving your name, though. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So there's the link. No conversation tonight? No, my brothers and sisters? You know, it's just really looking at whether or not people can be redeemed. You know, is there repentance, do you think? That's the question, actually, that I want to put out there for anyone who wants to come and talk about that. Is there a repentance? Do we feel that with some of the things that we've heard, even the guy tonight, Lindo, are they able to repent? If he was to come and say, I'm so sorry, I need help, should we accept that? Or are there some things you just can't repent for? Are there some things that you will never be able to repent for? And how could we trust that you were sincere anyway? I mean, I personally feel that there are some things you can't repent for. But it will be interesting to have a conversation about that. There's the link again. Jump in, jump in. We've got someone called Donkey Kong. Interesting name. No, Donkey Kong's gone. All right. Wasn't that the name of a game or something? I'm sure that was the name of some sort of video game or something back in the day. Donkey Kong. Oh, what's happened there? Donkey Kong. I don't know, Melrose. Was it? Is Donkey Kong JJ? If it is, then come back on, Jay. Okay, so Donkey Kong's not coming on. Here's the StreamYard link. Let me put it again one more time in the chat if I can get my computer to copy and paste, which it is. Okay, so it says that your device is not connected. I don't know what that means. They will need to connect their mic and camera before they can add them to the stream. Whoever's trying to get on, Ronnie, can you turn on your camera and your mic, please? Yeah? Ronnie? Turn your camera. It says your devices are not connected. It says that you will need to connect your mic stroke camera before you can be added to the stream. So if you can do that, that'd be amazing. I don't know how you're going to do that. It's all a bit confusing, isn't it? But it's if you look at the bottom of your screen, you should be able to, or maybe turn on your mic and your camera on your device. I think that's probably off at the moment. That's probably what it is, really. If there's anyone else that wants to jump in, please do. This thing isn't copy and pasting, so you're going to have to try and catch it on the screen as it goes by. https://streamyard.com/SZUYYDPFF2, I think. Can't even see it myself. Gotcha. Right, I'm going to put it in the link one more time. You might be able to cut and paste it from there. I don't know if you can do that, but you might be able to. So I can't add you at the moment, Ronnie. If you could, they've gone. Right. Right. Yep. So there's the link again for whoever wants to come on. Maybe if I do it that way, it might be easier. Yep, that's more stable, isn't it? Cool. So that's there for whoever wants to come on and have that conversation. But I personally don't believe that those people are able to redeem themselves. I think there are certain crimes, once you cross that line, that threshold, I don't think there's redemption there. Not when it comes to children. I just draw the line at that. When it comes on to crimes against children, such cruelty, yeah, and causing children so much pain, torturing children, raping children, yeah, I don't believe there's any way. Bola. Yeah. Blessed love. Hey, oh, they've gone. Don't know what's happening tonight, man. Ronnie, your device is still not connected. I can't get you on. Sorry. I'm not able to get you on, Ronnie. I really wish I could. I think it might be your actual device, whatever you call it, you're on, whether it's a laptop or a phone or whatever. Maybe go onto the phone and turn on camera in settings or something. I haven't got a clue. But at the moment, I'm trying to put you on and it will not allow me. So I'm going to kick you out. Sorry. And you're gone. Right. Anyone else? Yes, Malak. This person is still alive. Absolutely, they are. Yes, they are. Both of them are alive, yes. One is up in age, very, very old, actually. Very, very old. And the other one's not so old. Not as old, anyway. But definitely still up in age, probably somewhere in his 60s. The one in Birmingham, I think, is somewhere in his 60s. And the other one is 81 years old, or thereabouts, between 80 and 82. So we've kind of put 81 as a middle ground, but he's between 80 and 82 years old, more accurately. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Rainbow Black. That's a really good comment. That's so true. Sexual abuse is physical, but decades of emotional and psychological abuse is not about forgiveness. Absolutely. When you see the damage in your own daughters and do nothing as a mother and a wife, absolutely, my sister. I'm assuming you're a sister, but you could be a brother. Absolutely, beloved. That's exactly it. What do we do with the psychological scars? Because once the physical scars have healed, it is that remains. That's what causes the trauma, is the emotional scarring that takes place, the psychological scarring that takes place. That's what enables the perpetrator's legacy to live out in the victim for decades later, even long after that person's either died or the victim is separated from the perpetrator. It's the emotional and psychological scars that put them in that position. Oh, Ronnie's trying. I'm sorry, Ronnie. I don't know what to say or what to do. I don't know what to advise you. This happened to a couple of people, actually, but I don't know what to advise you, really. Yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder. Very, very true. Fire for them. 100%. Fire for them. So sick of them. And the enablers are just as guilty. 100%. I wish we had a Guantanamo Bay for those people, actually. I mean, I'm all for colonizing pedophiles. They do it in some parts of the world where they either castrate them or colonize them. Castration alone, I'm actually down for both. Castrate and colonize them. I'm really, really down with that. I think that's the punishment right there. Castrate them and then colonize them where they can just sit amongst themselves for the rest of their lives. There's lots of little islands out in the Pacific and in the middle of the Atlantic with no way out. They'd have a food source. they'd be able to kind of construct their own society and stay there. And the only way out is to swim and then be eaten by sharks. Colonize them. Yeah. Take them completely out of mainstream society. Because I believe that's the only way to keep children safe from them. What we have to understand is a compulsion. You know, they can't really help themselves. And for some people, they feel that they should have compassion because they can't help themselves. Nah. I say when something's dangerous, they don't show compassion for a wild animal that's just gone feral, a tiger that wants to run through the community biting people up. They don't sort of gently, give them a little tranquilizer and groom them afterwards. They usually put them down when something is that dangerous to the society. And I believe unequivocally that paedophiles are one of the biggest risks to our society that there is. Why? Because they create damaged adults. They create sociopaths and psychopaths and megalomaniacs. How many serial killers have you seen that when you look back in their pathology or in their story, they've been hideously abused on whatever level and then turned into a serial killer going forward? We've all seen the cliche. These people create a lot of hell and pain. And I've always said it starts with paedophilia. You know, all the things that we see wrong in our society, drug users, prolific and persistent drug users that mash up the fabric of the society, that send our children up to county lines and what have you. Scratch that surface. What you're going to find is paedophilia. Oh, Brother Ronnie, I don't know what to say to you, my brother. You're the one that's most keen to come on and have this conversation, but it still says to me, device is not connected. I don't really know what to say. Yeah, I don't know how to help either. I don't think I can. So it's something that you're not doing right. Or maybe, yeah, it's something that you're not doing right. It says device is not connected. You will need to connect your mic and camera before coming on. So connect it. I don't know what that means. Maybe turn it on. Must be what it means. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, they do castrate them in parts of Africa. Absolutely. But you see, the problem with castration is this, from my standpoint, this is my opinion. Castration means that what they deballs them, basically. They take out the testicles. So therefore there is no, it reduces the sexual desire, and it also completely cuts the ability for them to get an erection. So you see the mindset with that one. It's just all about penetration. There's so much else that person could do to a child, because what it doesn't do is take away the ideation. They will still look at nasty child pornographic images, and fantasize about children, whether they got balls or not. And it's also only geared towards male pedophiles. What are you going to do with the female pedophiles? Remove their ovaries? That's not going to make a difference. So the whole system is just skewed towards a certain mindset. And I feel that needs to change. We need to educate young people around the vastness of who a paedophile can be. You know, it's such a huge spectrum of who paedophiles actually are. It's no respecter of age, race, gender, religion, sexuality. Paedophilia is not a respecter of any of that. Any of those groups can be paedophiles. You can get a disabled gay paedophile, a disabled gay black paedophile. Yeah, I thought I covered it all there, but you know what I mean. You can get, it's no respecter of any of those things, and that's what makes it so very dangerous. I believe it's on the rise. I sort of questioned myself the other day, and I said, well, is it on the rise, or is it that we've got more avenues for it to be exposed nowadays? I believe it's on the rise. I think it's more than that. Yes, it's being exposed a lot more, but actually there's so many more people that seem to be getting into that, whether it's for Satanism, you know, because that's another thing that's growing. It's one of the fastest growing religions right now, is Wicca and witchcraft and Satanism. And there are aspects of that do sacrifice children and have sex with them and do all the things that they do in a ritualistic way. It's called satanic ritualistic abuse. You know, it's a thing. It's a real thing. So if there is no one else that's going to come on, and if Brother Ronnie is unable to connect his mic and his cam, then we're not really going to have anybody come on for the rest of the evening, it looks like, because I can't see everyone rushing to get the link. But yes, my brothers and sisters, the work continues. Please donate to the Cash App. Please donate to the GoFundMe, and continue to do that. But as I said, we're going to roll stuff like this out so that you guys can have something tangible to show for your donations, as well as the work that we'll be rolling out. So yeah, somebody asked, how's the money spent? We haven't really raised much, have we? And if you're in any doubt as to how the GoFundMe money and whatever was spent, then all you have to do is go back and have a look at the March, and see the level of security that we had to know that money didn't even begin to cover it. So yeah, some of that has gone to that and the setting up and the paying for the sound and all different sorts of things. But we haven't raised that much at all. And we do need to raise as much as we possibly can so that we can start to fund and staff our helpline, and also fund and staff and train our patrols. That's going to be in places, unsafe places where young people gather, where girls walk home from school, and so on and so forth. And, you know, I'm not expecting the big woman them. I am expecting the big woman them to be able to find some time to do that as well, and the brothers. But also I'm going to be targeting and looking at the youngers themselves, because I believe in co-production, and I believe that people should be empowered to be able to take care of themselves. You know, I'm all about giving people fishing rods rather than just teaching them how to fish at the end of the day. So that's what it is. Those are the updates. Please keep circulating the pictures of these two disgusting individuals, and encouraging people that if they know them and have been victims of theirs, to please come forward. It's so important, so very important that I just got kicked out. Got kicked out of my own studio. Moderator, you sure you never kicked me out accidentally? God only knows what happened there. God only knows what happened there. Actually, that must have been a sign from the heavens, because I am sort of overdue for what I was supposed to be doing this evening. So that must have been a sign to say, all right, stop talk. Stop talk now. But yeah, I literally just got kicked out. That is so dread. Anyway, my brothers and sisters, thank you so much for joining me. We're coming up to 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's been a good evening. Too many emasculated is the word. Emasculated males and wicked, carnal-minded individuals. Yeah. Oh God, the music industry is just absolutely awash. Absolutely awash with these individuals. I mean, what is that? I don't even understand why they're so prolific in the music industry. All the little nasty sound man them and whatever. The Cash App is on the page, my sister. There it goes. There it goes. Afua speaks. Actually, I'm not even sure that it is a pound sign. I think it's actually a dollar sign. Something like that. It's actually the Cash App link is in my bio on @AfroRose69 on Instagram, and the YouTube link is in the description box on this channel, in case you want to know. But as I say, my brothers and sisters, unless we are going to take some calls, I am locking off at 1 hour and 45 minutes. It's been a pleasure as always. There will be updates during the week, especially around progression around the infrastructure and the services that we're rolling out, but also I will give you some updates about the merchandise and where to get it and how to get it, how to order, that kind of thing. But we haven't really structured a lot of that yet. It was just something I'm throwing out there. This is my own personal mug, so I haven't created any merch, and it's a mug that I'd given to all the team as a thank you for their lovely support and their hard work, and I had it individualized and inscribed with a different message for them. But my one says, no weapon formed against thee shall prosper. Hashtag his time is up, March 16th of October 2021. And my name at the top. So actually, this is the way I would do it, I think, is to have this kind of inscription and to personalize it with the person's name and so on. So blessed love. Thank you so, so very much. Whatever you're going to do for the rest of the evening, please do it peacefully. And I hope it is absolutely blessed. I just want to give my love and just absolute honor to the two victims that shared their stories today, via myself, of course, but they have shared them. They've spoken their truth to another person. And that is just the biggest feat whatsoever. Anybody that understands that, you know, to even just tell another human being in your adult life, this secret that you've held since you were a child, to even tell another child when you were a child is massive. It's absolutely massive. So you know who you are. Sister from Birmingham, sister with the psycho dad. I love you. I love you so much. And just know that you always have a safe home here. You always have a safe home here. And we're going to do our absolute best to support you. I am in the process of putting together a support service, you know, and that support service is going to be multifaceted, and it will include a sister's circle. If you want to be a part of that, DM me as well. The other thing is as well is that please, if you've DM'd me before and you've absolutely heard nothing from me, not even a little note to say, look, sorry, I haven't got back to you. I will get back to you soon. Please DM me again, because this is on Instagram. Because what's happened is all this time that I've been getting these message requests, some people are already following and, you know, we've spoken and they're on the DMs, and that's fine. But when you get the message request thing and you go into it and there's all these messages, if you don't, you accept it, don't you? And if you don't answer that person back, it disappears. I had no idea. There's messages that I've been looking for. I thought, all right, I'll get back to you afterwards. And then I'll go, you know, come off that bit and go on to the main messages. And I've been like scratching my head thinking, where the hell are those messages that I saw? And some of them were very, very significant. Please DM me again. I'm going to put something up on Instagram in the week, an appeal for people to start DMing me again if they feel that I haven't got back to them. It's not that I've ignored you. It's because your message has disappeared. And it's because unless you put a reply in, then the message it doesn't register. You can accept it, but you also have to reply to that person. And if you haven't done that, when you come off of that and go to the main messages, I'm sure you know what I mean if you're on Instagram. You probably know a lot more than me, brothers and sisters. But yeah, blessed love to all the moderators that are in. Lioness Keeks, you've done an excellent job, sis. Well done. It wasn't so technical after all. Yeah, I love my team. Great team. Great team. Someone's asking me I should do a Patreon. Funny enough, one of the team was suggesting that, and we were looking into that today. So that may well come. Clubhouse, I went on that when I was looking at different platforms to come away from Instagram, the oppressive Instagram. They're like Nazis on there. Clubhouse, I didn't even know where to start. Rainbow Black, I really didn't even know where to start. I tried to figure it all out. Nothing was happening. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the format. I don't like anything about it. So I really don't know. I really don't know if I'm going to be able to manage that. That would be a whole nother set of learning. And my brain's tired. So yes, my brothers and sisters, blessed love. I'm not going to get into the whole pagan thing. I was going to say have a great bonfire night, but I don't believe in it. So I actually think it's quite sick to have a day where you celebrate the burning of a man, because that's actually what happened, wasn't it? They They chucked the man on the fire, man, for trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament, and then they made an effigy of him and stuck it on the fire. And they've done that hundreds of years later, ever since. Although the guy is actually not really featured as much as he used to be when I was a kid. Anyway, penny for the guy. We used to give him a penny and nick the guy. But blessed love, whatever you're doing tonight. I hope it's joyful and I hope it fills you with absolute fulfillment. Ashe. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Good night.